There comes a moment in every human heart when love tests us, stretches us, and invites us to rise, and when you're dealing with someone who protects themselves with distance, who builds fortresses instead of bridges, it's easy to believe their silence means indifference. But hear me now, sometimes the quietest soul is the one who trusts you the most deeply. You see, a person who leans away isn't doing it because you're unworthy. They do it because the world once taught them that closeness equals danger, that attachment equals pain. But when an avoidant chooses you, when they let you step even an inch beyond those walls, that is not a small thing. That is an act of courage. That is an act of trust. That is their heart whispering, I feel safest with you. And you must honor that. Because trust from someone who's been hurt doesn't come in grand gestures. It comes in subtle signs, signs that you must learn to recognize. They share a piece of their truth, even if it's clumsy. They let you into their personal space without flinching. They allow you to influence their decisions, to challenge their patterns, to be part of their inner universe. They tell you where their limits are because they believe you'll respect them. They come back after pulling away, not because they need to, but because something in their soul is tethered to you. These are not signs of weakness. These are signs of devotion. But here's the real transformation. The moment you recognize these signs, you awaken to your power. Your presence is healing something in them. You are proving that love doesn't have to wound. You are showing them that connection can be a sanctuary, not a battlefield. And in that space, where patience meets purpose, where compassion meets truth, you become more than just a partner or friend. You become a catalyst, a mirror, a safe haven. You become the one person who helps rewrite their story, so stand tall in that role. Speak with clarity, love with boundaries, lead with strength, because the journey with an avoidant is not for the faint-hearted, but for the soul that understands that real transformation happens not through force, but through presence. Remember this, when someone who trusts no one chooses to trust you, it's not an accident. It's alignment. It's divine timing. It's a signal that your energy, your heart, your spirit is exactly what their healing needed. Cherish that gift, grow through it, rise within it, and know that in helping them open, you are also opening a greater version of yourself, a self capable of deeper love, higher purpose, and unstoppable fullness. Because trust, once awakened, doesn't just transform them. It transforms both of you. When someone has an avoidant attachment style they have learned, often through experience, that exposing their inner world can feel like a risk. They've built walls around their emotions, cultivated self-reliance as a shield, and trained themselves to hide vulnerability as if it were a dangerous weapon. For them, emotions are not casual. They are intimate, delicate, and deeply personal. And yet, in the rare moments when an avoidant begins to open up to you, when they allow you to see pieces of their inner landscape, it is one of the most profound acts of trust a human being can offer. This is not something they do lightly or frequently. It is intentional, sacred, and powerful. Sharing their inner world is not simply a matter of telling you about their day, their frustrations, or their accomplishments. It is about allowing you to step behind the veil they have carefully constructed over the years. It is about revealing thoughts and feelings that they have withheld from nearly everyone else. They may talk about their fears, their insecurities, their hopes that they rarely admit even to themselves. Each word, each gesture, each pause is loaded with significance because it carries the weight of their trust. When they do this, they are not only communicating, they are saying without words, I feel safe enough with you to show the part of me that the world often cannot see. For someone with an avoidant attachment, vulnerability is not an everyday act. They have learned that to be open is to be exposed. And exposure can lead to disappointment, judgment, or emotional harm. So they create a careful filtration system, a kind of emotional radar that decides what is safe to reveal and to whom. That filtration system is rigorous. It is tested constantly by experience. And when they select you as someone who is worthy of seeing their inner world, it signals a level of recognition and acceptance that goes far beyond superficial connection. They are choosing to trust you where they choose not to trust anyone else. They are choosing to lower the drawbridge and invite you into a part of their life that is usually off limits. This selective sharing often comes in subtle ways. It may be through small admissions, like revealing a hidden passion, a memory that still stirs their heart, or a thought they would normally keep to themselves. It may manifest in fleeting moments of vulnerability, hesitant confessions, quiet glances, or even silence that carries meaning. The avoidant person is gauging your response, measuring your reaction, and deciding whether the risk of trust will be rewarded with acceptance rather than abandonment. Their careful, deliberate choice to share is not just a reflection of their trust in you, it is also a reflection of their inner courage, because opening up means confronting the fear of being misunderstood or rejected. When you witness this selective sharing, it is important to recognize its significance. CE. This is not casual conversation. This is the unveiling of their inner sanctuary. They are demonstrating that they have evaluated the landscape of human relationships and concluded that you, uniquely, are safe. They are showing that they have chosen to override the protective instincts that normally guide their interactions. And in that choice, there is profound meaning. You are being offered a rare gift, the chance to connect with a part of their essence that few ever get to see. Being trusted with this inner world comes with responsibility. It calls for patience, empathy, and respect. It is an invitation to show that your presence is steady, that your acceptance is unconditional, and that your commitment to understanding them runs deeper than convenience or desire. When an avoidant shares their inner world with you, they are not simply letting you in. They are testing whether you can meet them there, whether you can hold the space for them without judgment, without pushing, and without retreating. Your response to this trust is not just shaping the current moment, it is shaping the very foundation of the bond you are building. This selective sharing also carries a transformative energy. It has the power to break cycles of isolation, fear, and self-protection. It is a chance to witness the humanity of someone who has been cautious, skeptical, and careful, and it is a reminder that real connection is built not on proximity alone, but on mutual respect, safety, and the courage to show what lies beneath the surface. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, personal space is sacred territory. It is not just physical distance. It is emotional, mental, and even spiritual. Their boundaries are carefully constructed, often reinforced by past experiences that taught them closeness can lead to pain. They navigate the world with a self-protective instinct, keeping people at arm's length, preserving their autonomy, and ensuring that no one enters too deeply without earning that right. So when an avoidant allows you into their space, it is not an act of casual generosity. It is a profound declaration of trust, respect, and recognition of your value in their life. Allowing someone into their space is an act that carries layers of meaning. It is more than sharing a physical room or a seat beside them. It is about permitting your presence into the inner rhythm of their life. It is about letting you witness the patterns they usually guard, the quiet moments, the routines, the ways they retreat and recharge. To an avoidant, this is deeply intimate because their space represents their sanctuary, the environment where they feel safe and in control. Opening that space to someone else is a signal that they are willing to share not only their environment but also the comfort and security that comes with it. This access to their space often unfolds gradually. They may start with small gestures, allowing you into aspects of their daily life that they normally keep private. Perhaps they invite you to accompany them on routine errands, share a meal in their home, or spend time in a place where they feel most comfortable. Each step is intentional, each inclusion measured, because for an avoidant, trust is built in layers. By letting you cross these invisible boundaries, they are demonstrating that they perceive you as trustworthy, capable of honoring their privacy, and respectful of their autonomy. It is not simply a gift, it is an assessment of your character, a quiet test of whether you can coexist within the rhythms of their life without disrupting the delicate balance they have cultivated. Emotional space is equally important. When an avoidant allows you into their mental and emotional world, they are granting access to thoughts and feelings that EY often keep locked away. They may share insights into their ambitions, reflections on their past, or subtle cues about how they process the world around them. This is not casual conversation. It is an act of vulnerability. They're revealing that your presence is safe, that your understanding is sufficient, and that your support can coexist with their need for independence. It is their way of saying, I choose to let you in where I let almost no one else. Respecting this space is critical. When an avoidant opens their world to you, they are simultaneously teaching you a powerful lesson. Trust is reciprocal. It is not given blindly. It is nurtured through patience, consistency, and deep respect. Pressuring them, invading their boundaries, or attempting to rush their openness will only reinforce the patterns that made them avoidant in the first place. But when you honor the space they grant, you become a safe harbor, a person who can coexist with their independence while gently fostering connection. This is how true intimacy develops, not through possession, but through mutual acknowledgement and respect. The act of letting someone into their space is transformative for both parties. It creates an environment where trust can grow, where intimacy can be experienced without fear, and where the avoidant learns that closeness does not have to equal suffocation. It is an opportunity to witness their authentic self, to honor their rhythms, and to engage in a connection that is both freeing and profound. The space they allow you into is sacred, and your response to it defines the trajectory of your relationship. By stepping into their space with reverence, you are not merely sharing their environment. You are participating in a subtle, powerful exchange of trust and respect. Each moment you are present, each gesture of patience, each acknowledgement of their boundaries becomes a building block for a deeper connection. And in that sacred space where walls are lowered and trust begins to breathe, both of you are invited into a higher level of understanding, intimacy, and shared humanity, a place where connection is chosen, cherished, and transformative. Consistency is one of the most profound signs that an avoidant trusts you, even if they may not say it in words. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, life is often a careful navigation between intimacy and self-preservation. They have learned to retreat when emotions feel overwhelming, to protect themselves when vulnerability threatens to expose them to hurt. Their patterns are designed to maintain stability within themselves, and unpredictability from others is a signal to withdraw. So when an avoidant begins to show consistency over time, it is not a casual act. It is a deliberate, courageous decision to allow reliability into a part of their life that is usually highly controlled. It is a signal that they are choosing you day after day, even when it would be easier to pull away. Consistency manifests in many forms. It can appear as reaching out regularly, even if in small ways. A message, a phone call, or simply checking in. It can be shown in the way they honor their commitments to you, in the subtle ways they demonstrate that your presence matters to them. For someone who typically prioritizes self-reliance, these actions are a form of trust. They are saying without words, I am willing to be dependable for you, because I trust you not to exploit my consistency, not to take it for granted, and not to threaten the delicate balance of my independence. The significance of this consistency cannot be overstated. Avoidant individuals are often inconsistent with most people, not out of malice, but because trust is difficult for them. They have learned to anticipate disappointment, to expect unpredictability from others, and to rely primarily on themselves. Therefore, when you observe steady patterns of behavior, when their words match their actions, when they return after withdrawal, when they engage with you even when life is demanding, this is a clear signal that you occupy a special place in their inner world. It is a manifestation of commitment that transcends the casual interactions they may have with others. Consistency over time also communicates emotional safety. By maintaining steady behavior, they are signaling that you are someone they can rely on emotionally, that your reactions and presence do not trigger fear or withdrawal. It is not an act of obligation. It is a conscious choice to remain engaged, to nurture connection, and to cultivate trust through repeated demonstration. Each day of consistency builds a foundation that reinforces their willingness to be open, to be present, and to be vulnerable in measured ways. Over time, these small, deliberate acts become a language of trust, a language that is louder and more powerful than words alone. For someone supporting or loving an avoidant, recognizing and honoring this consistency is essential. It is a signal that the trust they are offering is genuine, and that it should be met with patience, respect, and understanding. Reacting with skepticism, doubt, or pressure can undermine the very trust they are trying to establish. Instead, responding with appreciation, acknowledgement, and steady presence reinforces the bond, creating a cycle where their trust is met with affirmation rather than fear. The transformative power of consistency also extends beyond the immediate relationship. For the avoidant individual, showing reliability over time challenges the old patterns that may have caused them to retreat. It demonstrates that closeness does not have to equal loss of autonomy, that being dependent fully does not diminish their independence, and that connection can coexist with self-preservation. For you, witnessing this consistency allows for deeper understanding and compassion. you begin to see that trust is not just a feeling but a practiced action, a deliberate choice that requires courage and intention. Ultimately, when an avoidant shows consistency over time, they are giving you the rarest gift, the gift of trust expressed through action. It is a signal that they are willing to invest their energy, time, and emotional presence in a way that they do not for others. They are choosing to show up for you repeatedly, even when it feels uncomfortable or challenging, and in doing so, they are teaching one of the most powerful lessons about connection. Trust is not a moment. It is a pattern, a rhythm, a living proof of the choice to be present and to honor someone in a way that defies fear. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, initiating contact is rarely casual. It is often a calculated decision, a moment that carries vulnerability beneath its surface. Avoidants have learned to rely primarily on themselves and to manage their connections with caution. For them, reaching out is not simply about curiosity or habit. It is about trust, risk, and a willingness to lower defenses. When an avoidant begins to initiate contact with you, whether through a message, a phone call, or even small gestures of acknowledgement, it signals something profound. They are actively choosing to include you in their life, to bridge the gap they usually maintain between themselves and the world. Initiation for an avoidant is more than convenience or routine. They may hesitate before making the first move, weighing potential outcomes, assessing whether the interaction might compromise their independence or expose them to emotional discomfort. When they overcome that hesitation and reach out, it is a quiet act of courage. It demonstrates that you occupy a space in their inner life that few others do. They are saying, without explicitly stating it, I want to connect with you. I am willing to step beyond my usual boundaries for you. And this is not something they do lightly. The act of initiating contact also communicates emotional investment. While avoidants often struggle to articulate feelings, their actions reveal their intentions. By reaching out first, they show that your presence matters to them enough to disrupt their self-contained routines. It may not always be dramatic or elaborate. It might be a simple message checking in, a shared memory, or an invitation to spend time together. But each of these gestures carries weight because it represents a break from the avoidance patterns that define much of their interactions. They are choosing engagement over withdrawal, presence over detachment, and connection over isolation. Recognizing this sign is crucial. Many people may overlook or underestimate the importance of initiation from an avoidant, interpreting it as casual behavior or inconsistency. But in reality, it is one of the clearest indicators of trust. Avoidants initiate contact selectively. They do not reach out to everyone. They reserve their efforts for those they consider safe, reliable, and capable of honoring the delicate balance between intimacy and autonomy. The very act of reaching out is a message that says, I trust you enough to allow myself to be seen, even indirectly, and to invite you into my life on my terms. The rhythm and pattern of this initiation also provide insight into the depth of trust. Avoidants may not initiate constantly, and their approach may seem cautious or intermittent, yet even irregular contact carries profound meaning. Each time they take the step to reach out, they are reinforcing a connection that is rare and intentional. They are showing that your relationship is a priority in a landscape where emotional closeness is often avoided. And in this, there is a sacred invitation to meet them with patience, understanding, and responsiveness that reinforces the trust they are extending. Initiating contact also transforms the dynamic of the relationship. It shifts you from being the sole pursuer to a reciprocal participant. You are no longer the only one reaching across the distance. They are making the first move, signaling that the connection is meaningful to them. This action allows for a deeper balance in the bond, creating a space where trust is co-created rather than demanded. It teaches a vital principle. Real connection is built not by chasing or controlling, but by recognizing and honoring the signals of trust as they are offered. In allowing themselves to initiate contact, avoidants show that they value the relationship enough to temporarily suspend their protective habits. They are demonstrating that trust, though selective, can be expressed in action, and that you are someone worthy of that action. Their initiation is a declaration that they are willing to be present, that they are willing to bridge the distance they usually maintain, and that they are opening a door that they keep closed for most people. To receive this is to witness an extraordinary gift of trust, courage, and intentional connection, a gift that, if nurtured, can deepen into a transformative bond that honors both freedom and closeness. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, influence is a delicate territory. They have learned over time to rely primarily on themselves, to trust their own judgment above all else, and to maintain independence as a shield against emotional risk. Their instinct is often to resist input from others, to protect themselves from potential disappointment, and to avoid vulnerability that could compromise their autonomy. So when an avoidant allows you to influence them, to actually consider your perspective, and integrate it into their thinking or behavior, it is an extraordinary act of trust. It is a signal that they value not only your presence but also your insight, that they see you as a partner in life rather than an intruder. Allowing influence is not about surrendering control or abandoning boundaries. For an avoidant, it is a measured, intentional decision. It requires courage because influence implies exposure. It implies that they are opening the internal mechanisms of their mind, heart, and choices to another human being. Every time they pause to listen, to reflect on your words, and to adjust their behavior, even slightly, they are demonstrating vulnerability. They are showing that your input matters enough to consider, that your perspective is safe enough to weigh, and that your connection is strong enough to allow a shift within themselves. This willingness to be influenced manifests in many ways. It may show up in small daily decisions, like changing a routine to accommodate your needs, considering your preferences in shared activities, or adopting habits that reflect your guidance. It may appear in larger, more significant moments, such as reevaluating beliefs, addressing patterns of behavior, or opening themselves up to emotional risk they would normally avoid. Each instance is a testament to the trust they are extending. It is their way of saying, I trust you enough to let you leave an imprint on the way I live and think. Influence from an avoidant is deeply selective. They do not open themselves indiscriminately to every suggestion or opinion. They reserve this for people who have earned a space in their inner world. Allowing influence is not casual. It is a filter, a demonstration of discernment, and a recognition of your significance. When they integrate your input into their life, even gradually or subtly, it is a profound acknowledgement that they respect and value your insight. It signals that they are willing to invest in the relationship, to co-create a dynamic that balances independence with mutual growth. Recognizing this sign requires awareness and gratitude. Influence should never be taken for granted, because it is a rare offering from someone who typically guards their autonomy fiercely. Avoidants are highly sensitive to perceived threats to their independence, and attempts to manipulate or control them can instantly trigger withdrawal. But when influence is granted freely, it is a sacred gesture. It demonstrates that you are trusted to hold a meaningful place in their life without overwhelming or diminishing their sense of self. Your role is to honor that trust, respond with respect, and reciprocate by valuing their autonomy as deeply as they are valuing yours. The transformative potential of allowing influence is profound. For the avoidant, it provides an opportunity to experience connection without losing themselves, to see that closeness can coexist with self-sufficiency, and to learn that another person's perspective can enhance rather than diminish their world. For you, it is a signal that your presence and insight have impact, that your ability to engage with them thoughtfully can shape the evolution of the relationship. Influence becomes a bridge, an active demonstration of trust, understanding, and partnership that transcends mere proximity. When an avoidant allows you to influence them, they are not simply sharing a decision or accommodating a preference. They are extending a sacred invitation into the architecture of their life. They are showing that your voice matters, that your perspective has value, and that you have earned a place where your insights are welcomed rather than resisted. It is a rare and precious gift, one that, when met with care, respect, and integrity, has the power to transform not only the relationship, but also both individuals within it. This is trust in action, trust that is alive, deliberate, and infinitely meaningful. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, boundaries are not just guidelines, they are vital survival tools. From early experiences, they have learned that closeness, if unchecked, can feel overwhelming, threatening, or even unsafe. They have built a framework of limits that protects them from emotional overexposure and preserves their sense of autonomy. To most people, these boundaries might seem rigid, distant, or even unapproachable. But when an avoidant begins to reveal their boundaries honestly, it is a profound act of trust. It is an acknowledgement that you are someone they believe will respect their inner limits, someone they feel safe enough with to communicate what is non-negotiable and what requires space. Revealing boundaries is, in itself, an act of vulnerability. Avoidants typically guard not just their emotions but also their routines, personal time, and mental space. To express these boundaries openly is to allow someone a glimpse into the architecture of their inner life. They are sharing the contours of their comfort zones, exposing the edges that they normally protect from the world. By doing so, they are silently saying, "I trust you enough to know that you will not push me beyond my limits, and that you will honor the sacredness of my autonomy." This honesty is not casual or offhanded. It is deliberate, intentional, and meaningful. The honesty with which they share their boundaries often comes in small, subtle ways at first. It may be a gentle statement of preference, a careful explanation of how they like to navigate personal space, or an upfront discussion about emotional availability. Each disclosure is a test of mutual respect, an invitation for you to demonstrate that you are capable of holding their limits with care, rather than challenging or ignoring them. For an avoidant, boundaries are deeply tied to trust. If those boundaries are respected, the connection grows stronger. If they are violated, withdrawal is almost immediate, a natural response to protect the self from perceived threat. Understanding the significance of this honesty requires patience and perception. Avoidants do not usually broadcast their limitations or vulnerabilities to everyone. They are selective and intentional. When they take the step to articulate their needs and restrictions clearly, it signals that they see you as a safe partner in life, someone who can navigate the delicate balance of intimacy and independence. They are granting you access to a level of understanding and insight that few others receive. By respecting and honoring these boundaries, you affirm their trust and help cultivate a relationship in which both parties feel safe, respected, and valued. Revealing boundaries also serves as a bridge for deeper connection. It creates a space for authentic communication, where both individuals can express their needs and expectations without fear of judgment or rejection. It teaches a powerful lesson about relational dynamics. Trust is not merely about emotional openness. It is about respecting the limits that allow closeness to be sustainable and meaningful. In this space, the avoidant can feel secure enough to engage fully, and you can feel honored to participate in a relationship that values honesty, clarity, and mutual respect. The act of sharing boundaries honestly transforms the nature of connection. It shifts relationships from transactional or superficial to intentional and sacred. By communicating their limits, the avoidant demonstrates that they trust you with something far more valuable than casual affection. They trust you with their autonomy, their inner rhythm, and their need for self-preservation. Your response, therefore, is crucial. When met with understanding, empathy, and care, this disclosure strengthens the bond, fostering intimacy that is both safe and transformative. When met with disregard or pressure, it reinforces old patterns of distance and withdrawal. Ultimately, when an avoidant reveals their boundaries honestly, they are extending one of the deepest forms of trust possible. They are saying, without exaggeration or flourish, that you are someone worthy of knowing the delicate parameters of their inner world. They are offering clarity, respect, and inclusion, an opportunity for you to engage in a connection that honors both independence and intimacy. This honesty is not just a guideline for behavior. It is a living testament to trust, courage, and the willingness to share one's world selectively with someone truly deserving of it. For someone with an avoidant attachment style, maintaining connection can feel like walking a tightrope. They have learned that intimacy carries risk, that emotional closeness can lead to vulnerability, and that allowing themselves to depend on others may result in disappointment or loss. For this reason, they often retreat, withdraw, or create distance when emotions intensify. Yet, when an avoidant makes an effort, no matter how small or imperfect, to stay connected, it is one of the clearest and most profound signs of trust. This is their way of showing that, despite their instincts to protect themselves, you matter enough to risk discomfort, hesitation, and even internal conflict. Trying to stay connected for an avoidant is rarely effortless. Even the simplest acts, sending a message, initiating a conversation, making time to see you, or returning after a period of distance, require conscious effort. They are not motivated purely by convenience or habit. They are motivated by the significance of your presence in their life. Each action, even if awkward or inconsistent, is a choice to remain engaged, a choice to prioritize relationship over isolation, and a choice to honor trust despite the natural impulse to withdraw. When they do this, they are effectively saying, I may struggle with closeness, but I am willing to try because you are worth it. This effort is often imperfect, and that imperfection carries meaning. Avoidants may not communicate as frequently as others, may appear distant at times, or may struggle to express emotions in a conventional way. Yet the very act of trying, returning calls, responding to messages, showing up even hesitantly, is a testament to the trust they are extending. It is a signal that you are seen, valued, and included in a part of their world that they carefully guard. Imperfect effort is still effort. It is still courage. It is still connection. Recognizing this allows you to honor the gesture rather than judging it against conventional standards of consistency or expressiveness. Their attempts to stay connected are also transformative for the relationship. They signal that the avoidant sees potential for deeper connection and is willing to engage in it, even if doing so feels uncomfortable or counterintuitive. Each effort becomes a building block for trust and intimacy, demonstrating that the bond is not superficial but carries enough significance to motivate conscious choice. Over time, these imperfect gestures accumulate, creating a rhythm of engagement that establishes reliability, connection, and emotional safety. They may be tentative steps at first, but they are intentional steps that matter deeply. It is also essential to understand the courage embedded in these actions. Avoidants have a natural inclination to retreat when closeness becomes demanding. Each time they resist that instinct to withdraw, they are exercising intentionality and bravery. They are challenging the patterns that have kept them distant and are choosing connection over the comfort of emotional solitude. By trying, even imperfectly, they are signaling that you are someone worthy of effort, someone they trust to navigate the complexities of their boundaries, fears, and vulnerabilities with care. The responsibility of receiving this trust is profound. When an avoidant attempts to maintain connection, it is an opportunity to respond with patience, empathy, and acknowledgement. Understanding that their actions are shaped by both courage and self-preservation allows you to appreciate the depth of their trust. Supporting their attempts without criticism or pressure reinforces the connection, showing that your relationship can withstand imperfection and still thrive. This creates a space where trust is nurtured, where both parties feel safe to engage authentically, and where the avoidant can gradually expand their capacity for closeness. Ultimately, when an avoidant tries, even imperfectly, to stay connected, they are giving one of the rarest forms of trust. They are demonstrating that your presence matters more than their instinct to withdraw, that they are willing to risk discomfort to maintain a meaningful bond, and that they see potential for a connection built on mutual respect and intentionality. These efforts, though sometimes subtle or inconsistent, are profound declarations of trust, courage, and the willingness to bridge the gap that avoidance naturally creates. They are an invitation to honor, appreciate, and reciprocate a love that is chosen, deliberate, and transformative. A trust that once recognized can deepen into a connection that transforms both hearts. As we reflect on these signs, the selective sharing of their inner world, the courage to let you into their space, the consistency they show over time, the initiative they take to reach out, the way they allow your influence, the honesty with which they reveal their boundaries, and their efforts to stay connected, we see a remarkable truth. Trust, especially from someone who naturally protects themselves, is a gift. It is not given lightly. It is earned, nurtured, and cherished. And when an avoidant chooses to trust you, it is a reflection not only of their courage, but of your presence, your patience, and your ability to hold space for them with respect and love. Remember, trust from someone who trusts no one is sacred. It is a signal that you are seen in ways few are ever seen, valued in ways few are ever valued, and included in ways few are ever invited. It is a reminder that meaningful connection is not about perfection, but about persistence, patience, and presence. It is about showing up, honoring boundaries, and appreciating even the smallest gestures of effort. In receiving this trust, you are not only witnessing their transformation, you are participating in it, co-creating a bond that has the power to elevate both of you to greater love, understanding, and fulfillment. So hold this knowledge close, cherish the signals, respect the boundaries, celebrate the efforts, because in the quiet moments when an avoidant chooses to trust, to engage, to try, they are giving you a piece of their soul. And in that gift lies the power to transform your relationship, your life, and your understanding of what true connection really means. Thank you for opening your heart, for showing up today, and for embracing the journey of trust, patience, and growth. Remember that every step you take in understanding, supporting, and honoring someone who trusts selectively is a step toward deeper love, not just for them, but for yourself. May your connections be meaningful, your trust be honored, and your hearts remain open to the extraordinary possibilities that come when someone chooses to trust you, even when they trust no one else. Thank you. Be well. And may your journey forward be filled with courage, love, and transformative connections.